Okay.
On the computer.
Okay, all right. So good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Just briefly, let me introduce myself. My name is Deborah Grandy. I am the program manager for the AAA annual meeting that we have every year. This is all new to me, so I know that some of you have done this before and you probably will end up helping me more as we go through this process. I will let my co-person here, Joe, introduce himself and then we'll start. So Joe, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah. So yeah, my name is Joe Harbach. I work with Cadmium CD. I'm a project manager for the scorecard, abstract scorecard product, which is basically the collection and the reviewing of different abstracts. So we are going over the review module today and just a demo of what we're going to be going through in weeks to come. Okay. I really appreciate everyone on the call today.
Sure. All right, so we'll go to the next slide. Okay, so essentially this is the first of 3 webinars, and this is the first round. And in this round, we will be looking at the sections as the program chairs, assigning the individual submissions to the right groups for review. Within the submission types that we're going to be reviewing are the oral presentations, the standard and retrospective, roundtables, also standard and retrospective, individually volunteered papers, group gallery submissions, which I believe are posters, individual gallery submissions, and group flash presentations. All right, so currently right now the call for papers are opened. It started in February and it will end on May the 20th. So we're sort of a little ahead of ourselves because you won't actually get in to start reviewing until later in next month. All right, but we're going to stay on task in terms of the webinars. So the process here will start round 1, will start May the 26th through June the 1st. Round 2, and that's the relevance. That's where you as the program chairs decide what submissions go into what bucket or category. Round 2A and B are the invited and co-sponsored sessions. And then the 2B are the build sessions. And those are basically how we do those on the same day. That's the second webinar. And then webinar 3 is a review and evaluate. And we'd be looking at newly submitted sessions. By the way, too, if you have questions and you want to, just go ahead. Or at the end of this event, we can just, go through some questions. And someone had a question. All right.
Mika has a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, and I was talking, I forgot I was muted. Just I wanted to make sure that's a typo for round 1. It says May 26th through June 1, and I assume that's just June 1, yeah?
Yeah, no, so what happened is we're closing submissions on May the 20th. So we won't have anything prior to then to give to you for you to review. So you won't review beginning May the 26th through June the 1st was when you will have the opportunity to review what comes through. So that is correct. All right. So now, any more questions? Okay. All right. So now we will go to the site, and this is where Joe will take it away from here. So go ahead, Joe.
Thank you, Deborah. Yeah, so on May 26th, when we're ready to open up, Deborah's going to send out an email. Within that email, there'll be a hyperlink to this review site. The hyperlink in the email will bring you to this page with your credentials auto-populated. So as long as you have that email, you don't have to worry about just your login credentials or anything like that. It will auto-populate. So the only option you have from here would be to just go ahead and log in. Now we have some review site landing page text. This text will be updated once we get to just May 26th with updated information, with the most up-to-date information so that we can kind of stay on top of it. If you have any questions, Deborah has nicely added her information here. So email address, and then underneath she also has a link to her email address and a phone number where she can be reached. At any time, we also have our technical support. Our tech support is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. This is Cadmium CD's technical support. So if you have any questions, that is a really good resource to use. Again, their phone number and email address. With that, they will have really good information on how to answer any questions that you might have or resolve any issues. So they will either directly reach out to Deborah or reach out to me with any technical issues that you might have. So use that as a reference at any point as we're going through the review process. That will stay with us through all 3 rounds as well. And you'll see this process will remain very similar through all 3 rounds. So as soon as you use the link within the email to access the site, again, all you'll have to do is click login, and you'll access the review site itself. So the review site is right here in the middle. The review site is 3 links. So we're going to kind of go through all 3 of those. Right above the review section, we have some event information. This is another area where you can access the AAA meetings department and any event information that you're looking at seeing. So you can access those here. We also have the ability to submit feedback. You'll kind of be pointed to the feedback section afterwards. We highly encourage any feedback that you might have on the system or the review site itself. So we're continuously trying to make this process easier and kind of go through it from year to year. And your feedback is greatly appreciated on that. So in the review section itself, again, you'll have kind of the most up-to-date version once May 26th comes around. But we do have some statistics here. I'll make it a little larger so you can see it. Just saying how many complete, incomplete, and recused reviews that you might have. Underneath that, we have our review period, just letting us know when the review site's going to open up and close. Again, that will be most up to date on May 26th. So as of right now, for the first round, you're going to receive these 3 links. So the first link is a reviewer guide. This is a defaulted reviewer guide that we've created here at Cadmium CD. And it takes you through everything from the email that you'll receive, how to log in, how to complete reviews, and even go through a summary of your reviews. So it'll take you basically through the 3 standard links that a regular reviewer would see. As you see, it opens up in a new tab in your browser. So you can use that as a reference at any point as you're going through reviews. So even as you're going through reviews, you can kind of toggle back and forth in between tabs. It's a really nice 6-page PDF that you can access kind of all of your review site materials through. Step 2 is just where you're going to go through to click and begin reviewing. So all of the submissions that you have to preview, or that you've been assigned to, the preview of that submission will be right here in the middle of the page. And then the scoring of that submission is going to be on the right side. So for round 1, we're basically going to go through, we have 1 criteria, and that's saying, is this submission relevant to your section? Yes or no. You can easily go through these, yes or no. As you answer that, you're going to click save, and it's going to automatically take you into that next review. You can see that we have our review quick picker at the bottom. You can see that green mark there is just showing that you've gone through and completed that review. Now you can log out and log back in as much as you want. You can revert back to your completed reviews at any time to update them. up until the point that this review first round is closed. So feel free to kind of go through them at your own pace, log in, log out as needed, complete your reviews as needed. You can also easily kind of skip through them by using the arrows, the next review or previous review. I'll get into how we can access our reviews summary from here. It's this informational icon. Then you can always go back home by using the home option in the header as well. At any time, you can also take any of these submissions offline. So if we want to individually print this preview, we can do that. We can individually download this preview or download all of the submission assignments that you've been assigned. These download options will pull into a Word document. It's just really nice to kind of go through if needed, to go through these offline. Then you can come back in the system later on and add your potential reviews. So at the very top, you'll also see the number of assigned reviews that you have. So you can kind of keep tabs on that. At this point, we do not have any numerical grading questions, which is a yes, no. So our review average a number that's not applicable right now for us. And as we kind of get into round two, it will become applicable. So you'll also see some review stats here at the bottom, just saying when the review period is going to end, and then how far you are kind of along in your reviews at this time. Again, you can go through your reviews. You can scroll down and see all the information within this submission here. And yeah, complete your reviews as needed. So again, we can always use the home button to get back to the main screen, or we can use this informational icon to get to our review summary. So our review summary is actually going to be the third link here. So I just click the home button. The third link, it will take you into the summary of your reviews. They're automatically going to be bucketed by complete and incomplete reviews. So you'll be able to see easily how many you have completed, how many you have not completed. This is going to put all of your reviews in one page, whereas the review site itself, you're looking at individual reviews per page. What's nice about that is you can kind of easily see them. You can give them notes. So these are your own personal notes. They're not being pulled into any reports on AAA side. These are for you to kind of go through and add your own personal notes. You can favorite them, or you can flag them as well. So kind of use these as you need to kind of keep these reviews kind of any way you need to have them. So use them as your own reference and kind of play around with the notes, favorites, and flags, and things like that. What's nice about the review summary as well is you can click on any of these submissions. You can see the full title, and you can view that submission, which will take you back into the review itself. From there, you can complete the review or do whatever you need to in terms of previewing it. And then this is, again, I was referring to the informational icon here. You can click the informational icon. It will take you back into that review summary. So you can kind of use that to toggle back and forth as well to see the different review options that you have in terms of review step one. So so that is for completing your reviews. Once you kind of go through and complete all of the assigned reviews that you have in your bucket, you'll see this link change from click here to begin reviewing to you have completed all your reviews. With that, you can still click into those completed reviews and update them as needed until the time that this first round of the reviews are closed. As soon as you complete the reviews, like I was saying before, you will be prompted to submit feedback. Again, that's optional, but it's a big help for us kind of going from year to year to make this process better from the reviewer side. All right. Is there
Can I
any
ask a
questions
question?
Sure.
I do, yeah, sorry, this is Mika. So if you go into where the specific review, you just kind of scrolled down and up very quickly and I couldn't see, is this an entire panel or is this each paper individually? And how can we toggle between a paper abstract and a panel abstract?
Sure. So this is the entire submission bundle. So this submitter has gone through and completed the submission. Here's the title. As you go through, you'll see each of the participants. And in terms of just the terminology that you're using in terms of paper, I believe each of the individual paper abstracts will be pulled out for you. So each of the presenters would have had the option to go through and add their own individual paper. And you'll see them listed under individual papers, listed out who that reviewer or who that presenter is, the title of that individual abstract, and then their abstract in general. So as you see that, you'll kind of scroll down and see all that information. And they're going to kind of pull from all of the separate presenters that were added for this particular submission. So you can kind of see how they list out in terms of participants at the very top.
Thanks, that's helpful. Yes, and then in that case, to answer the question, relevance, it's for the entire package, not for specific individual papers. It's for the panel as a whole.
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions in terms of going in, what you're going to be seeing as a first round reviewer, or just navigating your way through the review site?
This is Ted Hammond. I have a kind of odd question. When we do all of these reviews, obviously we're recording our own notes and so forth. Whatever happens to these reviews in terms of archiving, who has access to them, where else do they go? And I mean, I'm not expecting to write anything inappropriate, but I'm just sort of wondering, like, could I ever be called on what I wrote in a review?
No. It's not that stuff is kept confidential. I mean, certainly people can get some amount of review feedback. But, you know, in the terms that whatever you write, whatever notes you make or notations, we would never divulge any of that without first contacting you, making sure that you're comfortable. You know, let's say it's something, you know, not the content isn't sufficient, or you feel as though they need more references or anything that supports, you know, the paper, you know, we can certainly share that, but we would definitely reach out to you first to let you know that the author had some additional questions and if you felt comfortable with sharing it. So.
Sure. And in terms of round one, the only option that you really have to add notes, again, is going to be in the review summary. And in terms of just our software on Cadmium side, we don't have the ability to pull any of these notes into a report. So basically the only way we could access them would be to log in as if we were you. And it's not really an option for us. So yeah, so it's not like we're pulling these reports on our end at all. So in terms of the notes that we're adding. All right, any other questions in terms of navigating through the review site? Awesome. And so definitely use these references as needed. So whether it's technical support or going through the AAA meetings department, which would be Deborah and Nate. So use those as a reference, and we can definitely answer any questions that we can going through. All right, and Deborah, I'm going to kick it back to you.
The next slide, the next one. So scheduling. So clearly, the staff, AA staff, we don't review or evaluate any of the sessions. We rely on you to do that. So again, this first webinar is really here for you guys to then take these submissions and put them in the right bucket. So the first priority for sessions are the executive sessions, and that's done by the executive program committee. The second sessions will be the invited and co-sponsored, and that will be the section program chairs. And then once that's all done, then they do a grading. So it's obviously A, B, and C. So whatever falls within these A, B, or C categories will then be given a score. That will then be either highest aggregate to lowest. And then these are the ones that will fall into the potential to be on the program, that the program committee will come to the offices in June if everything stays, everything works out time-wise. They'll be in the office with the program chair, and this is when the sessions will then get slotted into the actual program for the meeting. Any questions on that, guys?
Can I ask a question?
I haven't. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. My question is not exactly relevant, but it's, are there contingency plans in place for potentially making the whole meeting virtual?
So we're working on all of that. I can't really speak to it in detail, but yes, I mean, if we still aren't able to go back to the offices and we still, yes. And they're still not going to have folks congregating in any large groups, then we would probably move to an online forum. But this part of what you're doing in terms of reviewing the papers, this is still very crucial, obviously, because we'll have to have content even for a virtual meeting. So this is still very relevant. All right, can you go to the next slide?
Can I ask a sort of a similar parallel question? I was just wondering if any other program chairs, I feel like there's not been a lot of conversation around proposals and panels for our section this year as there was last year. And we're working hard to encourage submissions, but I'm just wondering if anyone else has a sense from their sections of sort of, you know, what we might be expecting in terms of, you know, fewer submissions, or maybe there's the same level of activity. I don't know.
Anyone wants to respond?
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of questions about, will the meeting eventually take place physically? Or what if it only partly takes place physically and partly online? What will happen? What about the fees and so on? And can we commit? Now we have some of the answers to those questions already given by the AAA. So that's been solved, but we certainly see a lot of hesitation about submitting proposals, much more than last year.
So, you know, I would say that as program chairs, I would certainly encourage your members to consider submitting. However things work out, even in the sense of fees and so forth, AAA will definitely make that right. So I don't think folks should worry about that. And you know, I don't think we want to ever consider not having a meeting at all. I think it's still very important that, you know, this is your forum. This is how you share, you know, new things within your field. So we would still do it one way or the other. And even if it comes down to a virtual meeting, again, we are going to need the content. We're going to need those submissions. So I would certainly reach out to your members and encourage them to do some submitting, to submit some content.
If I can just kind of put my 2 cents in, even early on last year, my only questions, the only questions I received were about invited sessions and you know the types of content that would be good for invited sessions, and I never really get questions about just general like non-invited status submissions. And this year I've actually had 2 inquiries as opposed to just 1. So I guess from my perspective, it seems like people are as engaged, if not more engaged. And I never, like, because I never got questions about just general like submissions that weren't, where they weren't seeking any kind of sponsored status. The fact that there's a little bit more this year, maybe, I don't know. There might be some other things going on in archaeology with the SA, kind of people are looking maybe to the AAA as another option. But I think that people are more or less carrying on as if this was really going to happen in person.
Yeah.
And I think that the moves that the AAA has put into place, where you don't have to pay your registration fees up front like you normally do, I think that makes a big difference.
Right. Yeah, I think that's going to help too, because again, once the sessions have been reviewed and they look good to go and we, approve them and accept them, then yes, folks will then have the opportunity to go ahead and pay for the registration. So it gives people time it gives you some time out from the actual meeting to be able to then say, for sure, I'm doing this, I'm going to hit the ground. And we're looking for your input too. You're the members of the organization. So if you have suggestions, things or thoughts on how things should be done or suggestions, again, share that with us. And we're trying to look at all the ways to make it possible for everyone. So, but reach out to your individual members.
This is maybe my 4th or 5th time as a program chair, co-chair, and usually I've had a couple of questions either from individuals or people wanting to submit invited sessions, and I've had no questions at all this year. And so on my long list of to-do items today, I'm going to craft an email and just try to send it out to Santa folks and say, give an update. I think sometimes maybe people get a lot of these messages coming from the AAA, and I don't know how carefully everybody's reading all those messages if they're following all this news. And so I'll probably put together a short summary of where we're at with the meetings and encourage people to submit something and be prepared to either attend in person or virtually, whatever the AAA and the individual or the panels is thinking about.
Sure. And again, too, as you all are aware, we do have the forum that we send out an email blast. So if you would like to use that as a forum as well, we can certainly do that to help. So. Okay. All right. Joe, can you go to the other slide? So as I said before, we're going to put this link up for people who've missed, because I think we had about 40 people said they would join us, but now I think we only have about 20 something. So this will be available in case you need to go back and see how to get into the review site. And again, just reach out to myself if you have questions, just reach out to me. All right, next slide. Joe, can you go to the next slide? Okay. So as I said, as you notice, we need to update some of the dates on a few places. But Tuesday, May the 26th is when we will send you that email again to start going in to review the content. So round 1 will be done by 3 p.m. on Tuesday, June the 2nd. And then the next webinar actually is the 27th, which is the webinar that is a little bit more inclusive. And we will be going through rounds 2A and 2B, which will be a little bit more detailed, obviously, than the round 1. Next steps.
Your previous slide said June 1st. So is it June 2nd? Is that the right date?
Go back to that for me, Joe. So June, and I said June, on the other side, I said June 1st. So yeah, I'll fix that, but June 1st or the 2nd, we'll have a little bit of flexibility, but yeah. When is June the 1st anyway? So June 1st is a Monday, so we'll make it Monday. All right, and again, you have my name and my email and also phone if you feel that you need to call, you can do that. And anyone has any additional questions?
There's a question in the chat box about whether there will be an option for people to select a virtual presentation.
Yeah, that question was for me. I was thinking about sending an email to our members, updating them, but I know that's a big question people have. And I know that's something we're trying to, that'll be figured out in the future if it goes all virtual, but can people make that choice now when they submit the abstract? Because that'd be something that I could encourage members that you have that option.
No, because, no, not yet, because we haven't really made that decision yet. That's a decision that the board of directors and other key critical folks at AAA will make that decision. Right now, we've moved the dates up, obviously, to accommodate the COVID stay-at-home rules. However, we are still at this present time right now, we are working towards a physical meeting in November.
Actually, I think there are two issues. I just got done submitting my session that I'm organizing, and there is an option that you can click to select to do a virtual presentation.
Perfect.
Okay, but I think
But that's different from the virtual meetings.
Yeah,
right.
no, that's exactly what I was wondering. If I can tell people, you personally can choose to submit virtually if you want.
Right, which is something that we've always done, I believe, right?
I don't think so.
I think you could submit a recorded session.
I don't think in the past you could, but.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to check on that and see. But in terms of the entire meeting going virtual, right now, no decisions has been made on that. Everything that we're doing right now, up until, you know, we're looking at a physical meeting still to be held in November. All right.
Something that will probably, that AAA might already be thinking about, but if AAA goes ahead and decides to have an actual meeting, but some participants either aren't able to or choose not to go for health reasons, that might be another layer to this issue.
Yeah, it would be clearly, yes. And we will make whatever accommodations we need to make for folks. So that's not going to be an issue. So, but thank you everyone for participating. It's 1:50, so we're just shy of 2. Again, you have my email, and if you have any questions, just reach out to me. But thank you all for attending. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.